In this video, we're going to discuss why we get beat block and reveal 5 proven techniques to overcome it. Now, in order to overcome this sort of creative block, we first have to understand why we're running into it in the first place. With that being said, I've identified what I feel to be the 4 main reasons for beat block. The first reason being distractions. Social media, YouTube, your email, and life in general will easily pull your attention away from being productive, so keep that in mind next time you find yourself slipping away from creating. The second reason being boredom. You could be tired of what you've been working on because it's not challenging you creatively. Are you making music at the moment because you're inspired or because you're bored? Reason number 3 is lack of motivation. If you're doing music as a hobby and not as a business, it's a little easier to lose motivation, but that's okay. You don't have to be inspired 24/7. Now, reason number 4 is something that I can personally relate to the most. It's something that I've dealt with in the past, and that is self-imposed overwhelm. If you're anything like me, you like to make the most of your time. So when you sit down with the purpose of creating music, you want to be as creative as possible, as productive as possible. But when nothing seems to sound good and you've blown through, a couple hours without anything being, save-worthy, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed by anything other than joy, happiness, excitement will definitely put a chokehold on your creativity. So that was just a quick overview of some of the reasons that we experience beat block or creative block. Now let's get into the 5 techniques to overcome it. Technique number 1, take a mental break. Dedicate a set amount of time each day to getting out of the studio and stimulate your brain with other activities. These days, it's so easy to find ourselves spending all of our time in front of computer screens, in front of phone screens, in front of tablet screens, laptop screens, whatever, and we actually cut ourselves off from the outside world. Unfortunately, this type of solitude can have a really negative effect on your brain activity, your creativity, and your mood. Going to the gym, reading, spending time with family, group activities with friends are all great ways to let your brain reset creatively. The second technique is to feed your brain with fresh content. When you listen to the same types of music on a regular basis, your brain becomes numb to it and far less stimulated. By switching up what your brain is processing, you effectively jumpstart your mental stimulation, which can have a profound effect on your creativity and your imagination. So switch it up and be open-minded to new types of music. Services such as Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, Google Play are all magical when it comes to being able to do this. In less than 30 seconds, you can be adding new playlists and be listening to new songs that you've never heard before. The next technique is to step out of your comfort zone. We all fall victim at times to the dreaded comfort zone. We find a genre and style of music that we excel at producing, and eventually we get frustrated when we realize that all of our music is starting to sound the same. Now, developing your own style is a great thing, but in order to continue to grow and develop as a creative entrepreneur, you have to force yourself out of that comfort zone. So even if you're not experiencing a creative block right now, I highly recommend switching things up once in a while. So if your go-to genre happens to be R&B, for example, focus on producing something else. Focus on producing top 40 or like a niche down genre of hip hop such as, West Coast or New York style. By switching up the style of your compositions, it will trigger your body to release powerful neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that affect your mood, your focus, and creativity, such as dopamine, noradrenaline, and serotonin. And it's not just my opinion either, that's science. Now, the 4th technique to overcoming beat block is to collaborate with friends or peers. As a music producer, we like to gravitate towards other music producers, so you most likely know a few people who you could contact to see if they'd be interested in working together on a project. Collaboration can be a really fun way to create some fantastic music, and at the same time, you can develop long-lasting relationships with those you work with. Now, keep in mind that not everybody will be open to the collaboration idea. In fact, some people prefer to produce by themselves, which is absolutely fine. But just talking life and music and the business, a lot of times will be all you really need to stimulate a little bit of creativity and to stimulate your mind enough to get through that mental block and get over the beat block process. Even if they just give you feedback like, hey bro, I got this beat that I'm working on. Can I send it over? I just want you to hear it and tell me what you think it needs or tell me if it's going in the right direction or whatnot. Those types of conversations, in my opinion, are extremely important. Just the human element to it, the person to person. A lot of times those conversations and those interactions are all you need to breathe new life into your work. Now, the last technique that I'm going to cover in this video to overcoming beat block is something that we can all do very, very easily. In fact, it's one of my go-tos, to be honest with you. And that's going back and finding older beats that I never finished and just start listening, having a listening session, right? Because we all typically have a folder full of unfinished beats, or if you're not very organized, somewhere on your computer are going to be a few unfinished beats that you just didn't really know what to do with at the time. We've all come down with the case of beat block or creative block, mental block, whatever you want to call it, at some point in our careers or our lives, our creative journeys, whatnot. And I'm sure I'm not the only person when I say that it can be extremely frustrating. One thing that has helped me personally time after time is by going back into the folders, going back into the digital crates per se, and finding something that grabs my attention. Let's face it, sometimes it's hard to create something from scratch. We sit there with the blank digital audio workstation, the DAW or whatever you're using program, and nothing's there. You might pull up a sound that you like. You might pull up a sound that you hate that you've been using for the last 15 beats you've made since you started this creative block. But a lot of times that could be the problem by itself. You don't know where to start. So if you go back into the archives and find an old beat that you didn't finish, or an old beat that you did finish that, 2 years ago your mixing skills weren't the greatest and you never released it for whatever reason, a lot of times you could focus on that and the task at hand much easier, and that'll help you get out of the beat block because it'll help you finish something. You'll feel accomplished, and when you feel accomplished, you feel good. It's all a mental attitude, really. Like I said earlier in the video, it could be a distraction mentally. So if you're able to focus, that's step one, just being able to focus and finishing something. Now, I know I covered a lot of different things in a very short period of time with this video, and unless you were taking notes, I really don't expect you to remember it all the first take around. So either you can rewatch the video as many times as you'd like, or I would invite you to go to adamivy.com and I will have a full blog article, with different bullet points and stuff for you to follow along and just reference. I've been doing that with a lot of my videos, and I hope that it's been helpful for you guys. If you find any value in this video, if you liked the video, if you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know what obstacles you've run into when it comes to beat block and the ways you've gotten out of it. And I really appreciate everyone who's been leaving comments on my videos, who's been liking and subscribing. Thank you to everyone that's new to the channel, everyone that's been rocking with me for a while. I'll wrap it up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, like, comment. I try to answer or respond to as many comments as I can. You guys are freaking awesome. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, all the good stuff at Adam Ivy. And until next time, you can find me at adamivy.com.